Section 1. Introduction. Olivier Blanchard, a macroeconomic maestro. Olivier Blanchard is a rock star in the world of economics. He's a French-American economist who has made huge contributions to our understanding of how economies work. His book, Macroeconomics, is like the Bible for anyone who wants to understand the big picture of economics. Blanchard's work has been incredibly influential. It's shaped the way economists think about things like unemployment, inflation, and government policy. He's known for his clear writing style and his ability to explain complex ideas in a way that everyone can understand. Blanchard's book, Macroeconomics, is a must-read for anyone who wants to understand the forces that shape our economic lives. It's a comprehensive guide to the field, covering everything from basic concepts to the latest research. Section 2. The heart of the matter. What is macroeconomics? So, what exactly is macroeconomics? In a nutshell, it's the study of how the whole economy works. We're not just talking about individual businesses or consumers here. Macroeconomics looks at the big picture. Things like economic growth, inflation, unemployment, and government policy. Think of it like this. If microeconomics is like studying individual trees, macroeconomics is like studying the whole forest. It's about understanding the forces that drive the overall economy, not just the individual parts. Macroeconomics helps us answer big questions like, why are some countries rich and some poor? What causes recessions? How can governments promote economic growth? These are the kinds of questions that keep economists up at night. Section 3. Building blocks, supply and demand in the macro world. You've probably heard of supply and demand before. It's a fundamental concept in economics. But in macroeconomics, we take it to a whole new level. We're not just talking about the supply and demand for a single product, like coffee or cars. We're talking about the supply and demand for everything in the economy. The aggregate supply curve shows us how much stuff the economy can produce at different price levels. The aggregate demand curve shows us how much stuff people are willing to buy at different price levels. Where these two curves intersect is where the magic happens. That's where we find the overall price level and the level of output in the economy. Of course, the real world is a lot messier than a simple graph. But the basic principles of supply and demand still hold true. They help us understand how changes in things like consumer confidence, government spending, or technology can affect the overall economy. Imagine a bustling marketplace where every good and service is being traded. This is a microcosm of the entire economy. Government policies and technological advancements play crucial roles in shaping this marketplace. Consumer behavior and business operations are constantly interacting, influencing supply and demand. Economic indicators like GDP, inflation, and unemployment rates are all tied to these fundamental principles. Economists use these principles to analyze data and make predictions about future economic trends. Understanding supply and demand is essential for anyone studying economics, as it forms the foundation for more complex theories and models. In our interconnected world, the supply and demand dynamics of one country can have ripple effects across the globe. International trade and global markets are influenced by these same principles, making them universally applicable. Ultimately, the goal is to find a balance, an equilibrium, where supply meets demand in the most efficient way possible. When this balance is achieved, it leads to a thriving economy, benefiting everyone involved. Section 4. The government steps in, fiscal policy and its impact. Fiscal policy is a crucial aspect of how governments manage their economies. Governments play a big role in the economy. They make decisions that can affect everything from employment rates to the cost of living. One of the ways they do this is through fiscal policy. This involves the use of government spending and taxation to influence the economy. Fiscal policy is all about how the government spends money and collects taxes. It includes decisions on public projects, social services, and infrastructure. It's a powerful tool that can be used to influence the economy. By adjusting spending and tax rates, the government can either stimulate or cool down economic activity. When the government spends more money or cuts taxes, it's like injecting money into the economy. This can lead to increased consumer spending and business investment. This can boost economic activity and create jobs. More money in the economy means more demand for goods and services, which can lead to job creation. But it can also lead to inflation if the economy is already running hot. Inflation occurs when there's too much money chasing too few goods. On the other hand, when the government spends less money or raises taxes, it's like taking money out of the economy. This can reduce consumer spending and business investment. This can help to slow down inflation. By reducing demand, the government can help to keep prices stable, but it can also lead to a recession if the economy is already weak. Austerity measures, such as cutting public spending, can reduce economic growth and increase unemployment. Section 5. Money makes the world go round, understanding monetary policy. In this section, we will delve into the intricate world of monetary policy and how it shapes the economic landscape. Another way governments influence the economy is through monetary policy. This involves a series of strategic decisions aimed at managing the nation's money supply and overall economic health. Monetary policy is all about controlling the money supply. By regulating the amount of money circulating in the economy, governments can steer economic activity in desired directions. This is usually done by a country's central bank, like the Federal Reserve in the United States or the European Central Bank in Europe. These institutions play a crucial role in maintaining economic stability. Central banks have a few different tools at their disposal. These tools are essential for implementing effective monetary policy and achieving economic objectives. They can adjust interest rates, buy or sell government bonds, and set reserve requirements for banks. Each of these tools has a unique impact on the economy. By tweaking these tools, central banks can influence things like borrowing costs, investment, and inflation. For instance, lowering interest rates can encourage borrowing and investment, while raising them can help control inflation. Monetary policy can be a bit tricky. It requires careful analysis and forecasting to ensure the right measures are taken at the right time. It's not always clear what the right course of action is. Economic conditions can change rapidly, making it challenging to predict the outcomes of policy decisions. Too much monetary stimulus can lead to inflation, while too little can stifle economic growth. Striking the right balance is key to fostering a healthy economy. It's a delicate balancing act. Central banks must weigh various economic factors and make precise decisions to maintain stability and promote growth. Section 6. The unemployment puzzle: causes, consequences, and solutions. Unemployment is one of the most pressing economic problems facing the world today. It's a complex issue with a variety of causes, including technological change, globalization, and government policy. Unemployment isn't just a number. It represents real people who are struggling to make ends meet. It can have devastating consequences for individuals, families, and communities. Governments have a number of tools at their disposal to combat unemployment, including fiscal and monetary policy. They can also invest in education and training programs to help workers adapt to the changing demands of the labor market. Section 7. Inflation, the silent thief of value. Inflation is a general increase in the prices of goods and services over time. It's like a hidden tax that erodes the purchasing power of your money. When prices go up, you can buy less with the same amount of money. Inflation can be caused by a number of factors, including an increase in the money supply, rising energy prices, or supply chain disruptions. It can be a major headache for businesses and consumers alike. Central banks keep a close eye on inflation. Their goal is to keep it low and stable. They do this by adjusting interest rates and taking other measures to control the money supply. Section 8. Bridging the gap, the short-run and long-run trade-off. One of the key insights of macroeconomics is that there's often a trade-off between short-run and long-run goals. For example, in the short run, the government might be able to boost economic growth by increasing spending or cutting taxes. But in the long run, this could lead to higher inflation or government debt. Similarly, a central bank might cut interest rates to stimulate the economy in the short run, but this could lead to higher inflation down the road. Policymakers need to weigh these trade-offs carefully. There's no easy answer. The best course of action often depends on the specific circumstances. Section 9. Open for business, international trade, and finance. In today's globalized world, it's impossible to understand macroeconomics without considering international trade and finance. Countries are increasingly interconnected through trade, investment, and financial flows. International trade can be a powerful engine for economic growth. It allows countries to specialize in what they do best and to benefit from the comparative advantage of other countries. But international trade can also lead to job losses in certain industries, as companies move production to countries with lower wages. This is one of the reasons why trade is such a contentious issue in many countries. Section 10, Growth and Development, a long-term perspective. One of the most important questions in macroeconomics is, what makes some countries rich and some countries poor? This is the question that keeps development economists up at night. There's no single answer to this question. Economic development is a complex process that's influenced by a wide range of factors, including geography, institutions, culture, and luck. But economists have identified a number of factors that seem to be important for economic growth, including education, infrastructure, technological innovation, and good governance. Section 11, Conclusion. Blanchard's enduring legacy in economics. Olivier Blanchard's work has had a profound impact on the field of macroeconomics. His book, Macroeconomics, is a classic that's used by students and policymakers around the world. Blanchard's work is characterized by its clarity, rigor, and relevance to real-world policy issues. He has a knack for explaining complex ideas in a way that's both insightful and accessible. Whether you're a student, a policymaker, or just someone who wants to understand how the economy works, Olivier Blanchard's work is an invaluable resource.